Should be all good. Let me have a look at that. My mic was on and everything. Yes. Okay. So, yeah. So first of all, Firebase overview. Now, Firebase is an interesting technology that they have introduced, or that's what introduced. So look at that. Firebase is a backend as a service. You would have heard this term AAS a lot. You know, platform as a service, and a lot of software as a service. The first one that we used to hear is as AAS, like SaaS, software as a service, application as a service. So what is this Firebase? Firebase is a backend as a service. Backend as a service. That's very interesting. It's Firebase has provided us a typical backend facility that is actually replacing a lot of other technologies, and we'll see that. Backend as a service that equips developers with a comprehensive set of tools and services for app development. So there are lots of tools and services that we can use for the app development, and we won't have to go into a lot of hassle for that purpose. But it streamlines various development challenges by offering solutions for tasks such as database management. So database management becomes easier. Analytics, it's one of the very important part of the projects these days, that you need to have the analytics performed over there, and the performance monitoring of the application. All this stuff that we used to do like this. If you look at this diagram, you'll find out this is referring to the database, and what this is referring to, the cloud, right? The cloud technology, and then the servers in between. So this traditional everything has been taken over by the Firebase, where we have application and we are just directly connected to what? Firebase, and it will do a lot of stuff for us, like taking care of the cloud thing, taking care of the analytics, and so on and so forth. So we have just introduced. It's a backend as a service. When we say something as a service, what does that mean? Anyone knows? If we say, for example, as you said, software as a service, then we said platform as a service, then we say, like this backend as a service. What does it mean? What does it mean that when we say something as a service?
You have access to it as by subscription, and someone inside this service provide your infrastructure for you.
Wonderful, very good, very nice. So he says that we hire some infrastructure, we hire some services from someone, and we use them. And again, whatever we use them, we pay for them. Yes, what do you think?
A different party which provides services to your PC or something, and it's not integrated in the PC.
Wonderful. It's not integrated too. I'll give you an example. Microsoft Office used to be a standalone application in one good time. Microsoft Office. And you had to have license to just run that one, on one PC as well. Now what they've done, that has gone, as a service as well. Now you have this Microsoft 365. You take one account and it gives you Microsoft Word and all those subscription and everything. So what we do, we actually make use of that as a service, and we don't need to keep that into our machines to just work on that one. Previously, we had to have. In the same way, backend. Backend is something that we basically develop for ourselves. We have a backend server. I told you, PHP. You need to have PHP. You need to have, Express.js to set up your server. Then you will have one database related to that. PHP will be using MySQL. Express might be using MongoDB and stuff like that. But what you say, Firebase says that, okay, I'll take responsibility on everything, your database and everything. I will just maintain everything. You just get my subscription and you will get all the backend there from me, right? So let's talk about that one. And what are the benefits that we get? We'll see some of the benefits. First of all, history. Began as an online chat service, and it should evolve in 2011. Developers repurposed it for real-time data exchange. So it started as a chat service. A lot of things that they started little bit differently, and then they become a real different thing. Modern Firebase, which is right now, launched in 2012 by founders James Templin and Henry Lee, acquired by Google in 2014. So it's not very old that Google acquired it. It's around 11 odd years. Transforming into a robust app development platform. When Google takes it over, it really, just makes it, so it has become a robust app development platform that we can use. Use cases. What are the use cases? What are the things that we can use? Real-time databases, working real-time 24/7 databases. Authentication, one of the very important features. These days, you would have heard this about this cybersecurity a lot. And just to hint you something, if you really want a hot carrier right now, you come across with these two paths, which are very popular these days. One of them is the cybersecurity, and the other one is, of course, AI and machine learning and data analytics. You know what I mean? So cybersecurity is another area that has so much space right now, and people will be. So here, authentication. It looks very simple, authentication. But do you know that when one website gets compromised, how much loss a company has to face? That same happened with the Microsoft servers. I think a year back or a year and a half. What was that called? That virus or that it was called?
Blue screen.
Yeah, blue screen. It used to blue screen used to come. So you know how much millions and billions of dollars are is the cost of that. So same goes with the website. Think about it. Your customers are working on that one, and your website goes down. And you would have seen that a lot of websites of airlines sometimes they go down, and it's all chaos because previously when there was no machine, there no computer systems of that category, they used to have traveling and everything. They used to have manual lists and all those things, but now it's not possible anymore. I don't know. I discussed that or not. When a plane takes off, and after, for example, half an hour, maybe it's going from here to Ottawa, for example, after half an hour or something, it just lands back. You know how much data it produces in between from this point to the Ottawa? No one can guess. It should be multiple, maybe in terabytes. A plane producing data, you know what I mean? And that you can just see with the likes of Flight Radar or those websites. You go there, you'll find out how many thousands of planes are just working, together. You see that on one screen, you'll see, literally hundreds of planes just going here and there, and you sometimes experience it by yourself as well. Anyhow, so authentication is one of the very important part. And Firebase said, I'm there to help you out. I will help you to authenticate. Cloud functions. Cloud functions, cloud is another very important technology these days. So write serverless backend code. Serverless backend code. There is no server, you have just code, and that works for the cloud as well. And one of the services that will come up, and I'll talk about that, hosting. Hosting is one of the features. You want to have host your application. Analytics, get user insights on your websites or applications. Cloud messaging, deliver notifications, efficient. More features constantly get added, and it keeps on getting the new features, the Firebase. Here comes the point, benefits. Efficiency. Out of the box functionality reduces development time. You will see that. We will connect to a database. We don't even need to go to the database, and we just start working on the database. Our application will, in a flash, will be connected to database. Yes.
So the Firebase is replacing the backend development.
You can say that it's meant to replace everything in future. Not right now. Maybe not right now. It might not be the right time. And right now we can say that. But yes, in future they have the plan. It will take away or just eat away all the backend applications, right? But anyhow, efficiency, out of the box functionality. So out of the box functionality, it has some features that you might feel that why even it is the feature over there, but they have just introduced that one. Scalability, automatic backend scaling. Do you know what is scalability mean? On a theoretical side, a little bit. Scaling.
Make them bigger.
Make them bigger. Wonderful. Anything, Amjad? What do you think?
I thought it would make him balanced or something.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Less.
Application more stable for a lot of people.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Well, just wonderful. Yeah.
Make it able to manufacture.
Make it able to
Manufacture.
manage high traffic. That's wonderful. You make an application and you say, it's my application. I am expecting maybe hundreds of 100 clients will just, subscribe to it, and you make your application, you set it up. And next morning, you went viral. Last night, you didn't never know. When you woke up, you found out that there were 10,000 or 1 million people just trying to access your content application. What will happen? Your application will of course go down after 100 users because you would have made that in a way that it's capable of handling. So scalability will give your application this robustness that 1 million user comes, I will be able to just scale myself. That scale is that scaling itself, scalability. There is when you study this cloud course or something, you will learn there are two types of scalabilities: horizontal and vertical. You know that horizontal and vertical scaling. Okay, you'll just find out. Horizontal scrolling is horizontal scaling is what? Yes, horizontal scaling is what? If I'm not wrong. Is it like, increasing the size of the devices and devices, more and more devices being added? And then it's vertical. I'm just forgetting that one. But anyhow, you need to find out that, right? Okay. So scalability is there. Now integration seamlessly connects with Google and third-party tools. So we don't need to worry too much about it. It will get connected to the third-party tools. Real-time updates, live data synchronization, cross-platform. This is again another very, very important feature. Android, iOS, web, game development, etc. Every support is there in the Firebase. So Firebase is really a game changer now here. Considerations. Now here comes the cons, the problems with that one. Costly at scale. Charges per document read write, making it expensive as user activity grows. Whenever you use that, and when user activity increases, the cost increases very fastly. So again, everything comes up with the benefits and the disadvantages. Maybe that same application using some other cloud technique, separately cloud, maybe it's much cheaper than that one. So I might want to go for that. I would never prefer. So it's again your trade-offs. You will have to find out that what you want to do. Limited customizations while improving some very specific features may be tricky to implement, but very rarely. So again, customization is a very important point. If you don't get the liberty to change your things on a large scale, your application, you might not want to go for that. So again, it boils down to the person who is making the planning. But can I sacrifice on these two things? So I'll go with that. But if I cannot sacrifice on that, I'll have to find out some alternatives. Study that and find out what are the alternatives for me. So pricing, they have these two type of pricing: Spark plan that we will use free for beginners, Blaze plan, pay as you go for scaling, again pay as you go. And Firebase is ideal for startups with limited resources to build comprehensive applications. So it's good for the newbies, but if you go anything above a substantial thing. Now here comes Firestore. And Firestore is what? Inside Firebase umbrella. Firestore or Cloud Firestore, so to speak, is a NoSQL database. Now here comes the question. Are you guys studying SQL code somewhere?
Yeah.
Definitely. What is NoSQL?
Like MongoDB is that's a
No. What is the definition? You are telling MongoDB is one domain. Sorry?
non-relational database.
Not relational. Anyone else?
Non-sequential.
Non-sequential. Wonderful. Structures. Okay. Anyone else? Now he has given a definition. Can you repeat that?
Non-relation.
Not relational. Now, interesting, people say NoSQL means no SQL. It's not like that. It's not only SQL. Just Google it and try to find out. Don't believe me. Just try to. It's called not only SQL. First thing come when you look at the NoSQL, you say NoSQL, no structured query language. It's not only SQL. Is that? Can you Google that? Sorry. Yeah. They have not made this O capital, but that's why it makes it confusing. But really, and it's a shocker for a lot of people. I was always thinking that NoSQL means I'll be going away from my SQL. Is that right? Yeah. So anyhow, now what are NoSQL databases? You guys have given the definition. So NoSQL databases are those databases which are not traditionally structured, which are not traditionally based on tables. Rather, they are based on collections. They are based on documents. Do you know what I mean? And rather, they are based on graphs and a lot of stuff. There are lots of interesting stuff you will find out, right? So Firestore is a NoSQL database. NoSQL means not only SQL database, which might or might not include SQL queries. Because SQL queries, an interesting fact. You know what is SQL, by the way? If I ask the question, what is SQL? SQL. Structured query language. Whose product is this? Yeah, like for example, is it Google's product, Microsoft, Amazon, whatever? Sorry?
Oracle.
Argo. Oracle. Okay, Oracle. Okay, right. Yeah. Oracle or Microsoft. Wonderful.
I believe
There are two poles of Oracle.
it was start from Sybase.
Cybex. Oh yeah, you're right. Cybex. You're very old like me, right? Okay. Now listen. SQL is not product of any company. It's a structured query language. Now listen, Microsoft have their own implementation. Microsoft SQL servers and SQL and everything, Microsoft SQL. Then Oracle might have their implementation. Then MySQL has an, MySQL as an implementation. MySQL that connects with PHP. MySQL. You have PostgreSQL, which you are studying, I think. PostgreSQL. You have one of the flavor of PostgreSQL. You know what I mean? SQL by itself is just a language, query language. You know what I mean? It's not. So it's just like that. For example, what else? Sometimes some products they become so popular that people start calling them that product. That product its name gets changed. You know what I mean? So anyhow, what this SQL by itself is a language. And then yes, the flavors come from the different different parties. One party says MySQL, one party says Microsoft SQL, one party says PostgreSQL, something like that. Now, anyhow, when we say NoSQL, we are talking about those databases which do not necessarily follow the tabular structure, relational structure in that way, but they have the relation as well, but in a different way. And they have documents, they have large amount of data. I was just talking about the data that plane is producing. You cannot put that in the tables. The huge size and huge dimensions of data. Dimensions. When you say table has fields. So this is called dimension. So your data can have hundreds of dimensions, hundreds of fields. Anyhow, so NoSQL, Firestore is a database summary, right? Now cross-platform support, Android, iOS, web, Flutter, Node.js, Unity, Go, Java, you name it and we have it. Right? Again, supporting all those applications. Flutter, the cross-platform development, Node.js, Unity, Go, Unity for the game development. Go is another very important language, Java, Python, and offers a real-time synchronization, offline support, seamless integration with almost any Firebase and Google Cloud product. Same ways as Firebase has those features. One of the features is like Firestore has that as a database. Firebase as a backend as a service and Firestore as a database, right? So it has a support that way. Key capabilities almost the same, but let's quickly look at that. Flexibility, expressive query, real-time updates, offline support, and scalability. More or less all the same features that we find in the Firebase. So again, just very quickly. Hierarchical data model with documents organized in collections. Now here comes the point. SQL necessarily have tables like SQL database. NoSQL, the documents organized in collection. There will be documents, there will be collection that will have multiple documents, and so on and so forth. Supports nested objects in sub-collection. Again, somehow it has to make the relationship as well. So there are sub-collection inside those sub-collections. Expressive query, retrieve specific documents of filtered collections. Default indexing ensures efficient performance. I don't know if you guys are studying the performance of the queries while writing the database queries in Postgres. Are you studying the performance? Sorry?
We talk about index.
You have talked about the index, and index makes it how interesting to find out the things because it indexes out either by some field or by something. But that improves the efficiency, and there is a timer that runs on with every query. When you run a query, there's a timer going on. Does that go in SQL as well?
Yeah, so how much time you got?
Yeah, how much time it ran. And there are ways that you will just introduce, mocking large amount of time, or sometimes there are certain queries that will really take so much amount of time. If you study deadlock in that one, there's a deadlock or acid. Have you guys studied acid? Atomicity and anyhow, so transaction, you see bank transaction, when you make a bank transaction, we are making transaction from one part, second part locks that so that no one can just do that one. I'm withdrawing money from one part, so the other part, it should be locked. For example, I'm withdrawing $10,000 here, $10,000 in the bank. So if that does not get locked, I might just, I might be able to just withdraw everything over there. So, but Express query, again, fast searching, fast finding. Real-time updates, as I said, offline support, scalability, multi-region replication. And that is one feature that Google, the cloud provides. Multi-region replication. On cloud, when you put your data, they try to have that multiple regions, US, for example, Malaysia, and etc. Different places, they will have their servers, and those servers will be replicating data. Why? In case of disaster at some point, you just saw disaster somewhere happen. Like all the buildings, went down and everything. So we very swiftly just switch from ourselves to the other location. So Scalability is there, so that is it provides us scalability. So enough theory. We will just very quickly go to how much remaining. 2 slides are remaining. Then we'll go and make our first project. How file store works? Data structure. Data is stored in documents, as we said, document. Documents are organized in collections, right? And supports nested subcollections for hierarchical data. Again, linking and all those stuff. If I ask you database, SQL databases, can you tell me the hierarchy over there? That fields they combine together to make one record, and multiple records combined together to make one table, multiple tables combined together to make one database. If you go that way. And I always, whenever I teach database, I just go all the way from letter, from one letter, right? N, this is one letter or one character. Combine NAME, it becomes one field, name. Combine 3 fields, name, age, and email. That becomes a record. And then combine 5 students' record, it becomes one table. And combine multiple tables, it becomes what? The database of those. Now here it's documents and collections, and we'll work with that. Query, retrieve data at document or collection level. We will be retrieving at both levels. How would you bring that? Add filters, sorting, pagination, and cursors. Filtration, sorting the data, paginating, different paginating, and then having those cursors that read one point to the other, and then just wait for the other reading, further reading. So real-time instance notify apps of data changes with minimal data transfer, keeps apps up to date without full database retrieval. You see asynchronicity over here. Look at that. Notify apps of data changes with minimal data transfer. Number 2, keep apps up to date without full database retrieval. If something has happened, a change, I'll just provide that change to you instead of I provide all the database to you. You know what I mean? Protect with data with file-based authentication security rules. One of the security and authentication that we want to really work on. So pros and cons. Again, almost the same pros and cons of this. This one as well. Real-time sync, offline capabilities. You see that I told the student they understood. We have Facebook application in our mobile phone. And if you go offline, you're not connected to any internet. Do you still see a lot of posts and everything over there? Because there is a little memory that keeps our posts and all. Even though they are not live, and we know that it's not, but there are lots of memory is over there so they will just do what? Offline capabilities, they will improve from performance experience in low or no network conditions. In the same way we have in LDAP. So real-time sync, flexible schema. What is schema? This is a database related question.
Structured database.
I don't need answer. Schema is actually the structure of table. Structure of a table. Structure means what are the fields, which one is the primary key, which one is the second, the foreign key, and some things like that, right? And yeah, schema. So it has a flexible, because we are saying that it's not only SQL. So it has a generic, that some fields might be there, some tables, some documents or collections might have multiple fields, some collections might have 2 fields only. So there is no schema requirement. Schema is a very important consideration when you talk about the SQL databases, structured query language, right?
You didn't talk about schema.
You did not talk about, but you should go and read about that. You should know what is schema because you're studying database. Sometimes it happens, maybe that did not. So scalable infrastructure and then tight integration, all these are the features. Cost, limited query capabilities, and no full text search. These are the features or the problems that might be coming up our way. Let me see if anything important. Otherwise, I'll want to. Oh yeah. So this is another important part. Rather, we are just starting the project. Implementation step. Add file store SDK to your app. Secure your data. Set up cloud file store security. Add data. Retrieve data. They're talking about the file store directly, but we'll do that with our application. And use cases are mobile and web apps, offline first apps, dynamic content delivery, IoT, etc., etc. All that theoretical. Now let's start the practical. And you can open the other PowerPoint, which is lab type, right? Open that PowerPoint. The second one. So lab setting up, right? Lab setting up. And we will start the project now, right? And we'll keep this, as I said, this hooks project somewhere, and I might want to talk about that one. Now, yes, first of all, we will go to Firebase console. Now, if you go to Google And here, write down Firebase console. Rather, it will take you to the page of the Firebase. Go to the Firebase page and just follow these steps, and we will be definitely done with that one. Now, see that go to console. When you open that firebase.google.com, go to console. Now, next step, if you look at that over there, so we have got to the console. And now, again, we have to do what? Create a project, right? Create a project. So let's go there and create a Firebase project. First name. So I'm just calling this section 1 app, right? Firebase project. We have to name that section 1 app. Now, join Google Developer Program. If you want to check it, but I'm unchecking that one for the time being. Do you need Gemini for that one? Not right now. Analytics for this one? Not right now, right? So we are creating project. So we have set up without any assistance right now. No Gemini, no anything else. Yeah. I disabled everything. Yes, everything is disabled. Sorry? If it is required for you to do so. Right? Number one. Number two, usually in exam, you are not writing the complete project. You know what I mean? So in exam, you might be asked the method of Firebase, how to do that, how to work on that one. You know what I mean? But of course, you might not be asked to just, set up an application. Yes, but for the project that next week we are going to do, you have to do that, right? For the project. Okay, continue. Now, here are a few steps, very important steps. When you hit continue, you come to this screen, which is section 1 app is showing us, and Spark Plan, remember? Spark Plan. Now, here, click on this web. Now, here, we have to register an app with this one. Now, let's write an app here. And again, I'm just calling it, section 1 app. And I'm not doing the hosting right now, right? Register app. Register app. Now, here is something that we have to do. Just be very careful. Now just leave this here. Let's go to our Visual Studio Code, because we have to create a project and then we'll just work with that. So I'm closing all those one, and what I'm doing, I would like you to just see here. I'm stop the project. Yes, and I would just go back to my week 13. I'm in week 13 now, right? We created custom hooks project today. So I've come out of the custom hooks. Make sense? Because I'm about to create a new project. Yes. Sorry? Control C. Control C. Hit Control C when it is running, the server running. And remember, this Control C is there to stop a lots of terminal going on. Usually Control C works for that. Control C or Command C if you are on Mac. Okay, so let's create a new application. npm create wheat at latest, and let's call this one Firebase app, right? It's our React app. Those apps that we have created, they are all Firebase. Like now we are creating the React app. Let's do the useful stuff. Firebase app. We are inside that. npm install. Right, npm install is done. And now, before doing anything else, we actually need to install Firebase in this application, right? So now, see that I'm not running the application. I'm saying npm install Firebase, right? Install Firebase in your application. All right, it is installing in the meantime. All right. So it is installed now. Now let's go back to our slides and look at that, what they are asking. So we have created the project. And now see here, we have given the name. We have not opted for any analytics. We are back to the Firebase, right? And here we have created the project. We have went to the app, web, and we have created the application. Now here is a very important point. We would like to use a file .env. It is called environment file. We need to create an environment file with certain values that I'll show you here. So we have set up a new React app and install Firebase. We have installed the Firebase. Step number 2. Step number 3, create a .env file in your project root. Now, please remember in the project root. So I'll go in the project root, and the project root right now is Firebase app, right? So I'll go into Firebase app and I will add a new file and I will call it .env. And you might get a different icon. Don't worry, because I'm using a theme here. So .env. No, I've told you. In the Firebase project app, like main root, it has to be main root. We need one more step. We never share this env anywhere, not even on Git. So we will add that on our, remember, git ignore. Go to git ignore, and it is mentioned in the document as well. I'll just come here and I'll say .env. Hit save. Are you guys understanding that one? So it's again, whenever you are just putting that, never put that env. Yeah, it's there. Git ignore. Git ignore file. I just said ignore.env as well. And remember, whatever you want to just ignore from Git, just don't put that in git ignore. No need. .env is just enough. Okay, let's come back. Now, let's come back to env file, which we created. It requires a little bit of interesting stuff. I'll just make this, I'll put this here on the site. And I'll put this on the site. Now see, the first line, I'll just make a capital letter, React app underscore API. It's all underscores and capital letters. Equal to. And at equal to, I will stop. I'll put double quotations here. React app API key. Right? Double quotations. And now go back to Firebase project. Do you guys see that there is a key being mentioned here? API key, copy that. and put that here in the key. Even though we'll use this file as well, don't worry. But we are trying to make a env. Yeah. So the next one, React underscore app underscore auth underscore domain. What is the domain of my app? Now go back and find out the auth domain. Section 1 app or something you will find out. Control C, go back and in double quotations, or maybe I can copy this in double quotation from there. Paste that. The third one is React app underscore project underscore ID equal to, come back here, section 1 app C-F280. Control C and Control V. Now the next one, React app underscore storage underscore bucket equal to, it is here. Storage bucket is on Firebase Firestore app. Now next, React app underscore messaging and sender ID. I'll copy that from our project. What is the ID? It's there. And last but not least, React app underscore ID is equal to, again, that would be there. Control C. And this should be done, right? We have just copied everything from there, and still we will copy the whole file also. All right. Now we are done. Let's come back here. We have done that one. We have created that one, and let's come back to the slides. So we are env file and then do that one. Add Firebase credentials to .env, which we have done right now. Initialize Firebase in your project. Create a new file, src/Firebase. Now listen, it should be in src firebase.jsx. We'll make JSX. They have used JS, but we are preferring JSX, right? So let's go src. In src, I'll create directly Firebase, small letters, all small letters, Firebase.jsx. And interestingly, just go here and copy everything. Now, we are copying everything from here. Just copy this from top to bottom, the thing that is here. And paste it in our here. Right? Sorry? What RF is snippet? No. It's without that one. Yes. It's basically a, sort of, you can just look at that over here. It is sort of a configuration file rather than anything else. Now, if we have done everything correctly, let's come back here. And so we have initialized Firebase, one way or other, we have initialized Firebase. How come? Look at the file, initialize app. And which file it will initialize? All those these are all the subscription and values. Now let's come to the next step. The .env file is used to store environment specific variables securely and keep them out of the source code. So we have .env, which will keep separately, that would not be in the source code. And variables in env are accessible in React project via process.env. Now anything stored in env can be accessed by process.env. Just remember that, and we'll be using that somewhere. Okay, let's come back. Setting up your React project. Now see that, do not forget to add .env to gitignore files. Your .env should look similar to what is on the picture, but with your credentials. It would be like this, right? And we have that exactly the same. Now come here. Now, we just need one more step in our Firebase.js. So look at that. Firestore operations. Firestore is a NoSQL cloud. We have talked about that. Allows CRUD operations. Create, read, update, delete. And now, do you know that we already have this initialize app over there on our JS file? Now we need to add get Firestore app. Just go there and just add this line. What is that? Const, right? You can call it DB, for example. Get Firestore app and pass the app here. And last step, we need to export this DB from here because this will be the database, activated. Now, we are almost done. We have set up a database in Firebase, which is Firestore. Now, don't worry, even we are not worried about the name and everything. We have just get the reference and we are just using that. Now, let's come back to now I'll close most of them. I'll keep my Firebase open. Come to your app.jsx and let's do the housekeeping stuff. Yeah. Which one? Oh yeah, so that's something that we want to do over here. And how can we just access them over here? I just told you, process.env. We are not doing that, but you are right. What he's saying, that because we have put our .env separately, so we can access .env over here and we can change that one and we'll do that. Right now we have just opened up everything, the API key is opened up and everything is opened up. But yes, we'll do that. Don't worry. Using process.env. Now let's go to app.jsx and now let's come here and remove everything from here again till this paragraph. And why not let's run this application as well. npm run dev. Application will be running as well, right? So let's hit save. So I'll take this away, but I will need this state variable because I will be bringing up the users or I'll be just trying to set up the users. Now, listen, first of all, what we need to import here, that's very important. I need to import DB. And from where? Anyone? From Firebase. I need to import Firebase, a DB from Firebase, right? DB, database, because I'll be working with that. I have imported use state. I would need use effect as well because I might be doing fetchings as well over here. Use effect. And few more things related to database, which is very important. Import. I will import first of all collection. I will import add doc. I will import get docs. And from where I will do that? Now listen, I'll do that from Firebase / Firestore. These are all Firestore related actions, right? Collection, add doc, get docs. And here I will change my count to an interesting one. So maybe I'll say users. We are making it for the users, right? Set users. Users and set users. And I want to make it an array again because it will contain a lot of users. So check. So I have just left. That's why I've left that user state. And now I'm making use of that user state. Right? Now I'll create a function for fetching the users, right? So let's say const fetch users. I'm not using use effect right now. I will call this function in use effect because I will be needing that separately as well. An async function I'm making an async function that will do what? That will write a query snapshot. A query snapshot like query, await, call get docs, and collection, which is DB over here, and the collection name might be users. In my function, first of all, do what? That bring query snapshot, get docs, call the get docs, get the documents from there, and from where collection, and what is the name of the collection? We have given DB by using the DB, and the user is the name of the collection, right? Use the DB as a database. Now, if the data comes back, I might have a users list that is here, users list. So I will use query snapshot dot docs dot map. Again, I want to bring one doc at a time, and I will just bring one doc at a time, take one document, and produce some some JSX type thing. JSX, we want to produce the JSX over here. In that, JSX ID should be doc.id, whatever ID is received from there, comma, doc.data. And it's a function. Look at that, I'll show you. The users list is coming from the map. The users list, we are having that map. One user, one doc at a time. Just take that. And now, if you have received everything successfully, just one step, set users as a user list, right? Store that in the users. All right. So we have made a function fetch users that we will call in our use effect, by the way. We'll be just using the use effect. So now, after making this function, what I'll do, I'll come here and I'll call my use effect, because actually that will be the thing that will be doing something for me. In the use effect, just call fetch users and call this use effect only once. Good. Okay, wonderful. Now, here, I would define another function, const add user. When I want to add a new user, right? And I will just add a, a sample user here, and then we can later on we can work on that one. And I would like to make it also async because, I will have promises coming up from there. Add user. So in add user, I'll use a try catch block because I might get or get not, I might be able to just do that or not. So I will just use a try catch block here. Enough. Here is the stuff, what we'll do. Const doc reference is equal to await. And I would say add doc collection, again DB, but again users. But I would like to just give users over here that I will just temporarily give that, right? Name Alan Smith and email alan@gmail.com. And let's have a console message because, that would tell me that what is happening. So I'll say document return with ID. What ID is that? docref.id. Just tell me the ID over here. Whenever you write something, just tell me that document is written with this ID. If there is an error, just go and console the error. Console.error, rather, we'll use that, right? You will study about this all console.error, console.warning when you will be studying Node.js, maybe. Console.error, console. We might have discussed a little bit over there in JavaScript. Okay, so now just one more thing before we move to our data. I would like to add a method because, I will just add a method handle add user equal to async. And here what I'll do is that await add user and then fetch users because, update that one. So just one handle add user and we'll call that handle user when we'll be adding something on our page. Again, a lot of things might not be making a lot of sense. We'll just make it completely and then we'll discuss it maybe in the next class on Friday, right? So now let's come back on our here, and I've not run the application. I'll try to run that application because it's running already. So I'll say localhost 5173. Is it running this application? Yes. So I'll just keep it over here because there's nothing on that one. So let's come here and let's write it using Firebase and Firestore. Still not coming. Is it on the 5174? Even though I stopped my application? No. Okay. Why is it not running? That's a point of concern right now. Get Firestore store app is not. Okay. Get file. I need to bring that, right? And from where I'll have to bring that? Over here in my Firebase, right? Where it is asking? In my Firebase, yes. So I will say import Get Firestore from firebase.firestore. Oh, is it? I've used this over here. No, sorry. Wrong place. I will have to call that in app, right? Or rather, I was right. I was correct. Get Firestore app. Did I use the right thing? Oh, I use the app word over there, and of course, I have not imported that as well. So I'll just first of all again take it back there, and I'll just make it over here. And now there is no app, right? App is just passed. Get Firestore, right? And now let's see that if it is running, or still it has some problems. Get Firestore is not defined in Firebase. Get Firestore. Yeah, now it works, and it does not get something, but application works now, right? So get Firestore. I was not using the right thing. Sorry. Get Firestore with a small s. I was making a capital S. Sorry. Yeah, import guy, same, get Firestore from Firebase Firestore. Now, very quickly, as I said, there are lots of things that required a lot of description, but again, I will quickly just run away with this one, use that. And again, on Friday, I'll just discuss it from this point onward. Right now, let's have a button. Yeah. Yeah. Firebase. It's here. It's not running. I'll see that because we don't have time. I'll see that on the, you just try that out. Look at the recording. I'll share the recording, right? So just try that out. Okay. So I have a button that says add user. Right? I have a button on my screen that add user, and it will just do nothing. It will call, look at that. It will call on click. Just call handle user, handle add user. You know what I mean? We have defined the function on the top, and we don't need any parameter for that. Directly call that. Right? And do you see that handle add user will just bring a lot of stuff over there, but I need to show that stuff also. So for example, if I just add user, it will add user, but I won't see that because I have not taken out the user list from here, right? So now let's do one more thing very quickly. Let's put a UL, and in the UL, put a curly bracket and users.map, take out one user at a time, rounded bracket, because this is JSX, remember, right? And rounded bracket, and do what? Create an LI with user.id, and just over here mention what is the field of that user dot name. I think let's take the name only, or email. We could just take email. Okay, what remained? I think that's remaining, right? Let's see if it brings up, but let's run that one. No, it does not show anything. Let's go and find out. Again, I've just very quickly, I've just gone there. What does it say? Okay, it says that add request. There's one little thing somewhere that is causing this one. Can someone find out? Maybe I missed something, or Hmm. It was working fine for last one, but I don't know why it's that's. Okay, you guys just type this one again. As I said, we are just a little bit. So we'll just start from here, and we'll just try to run that one. It's right now not. Oh, rather it's running. It's running. See here. I was just wondering that it's not running. Look at that. Because I'm just adding same one record. So look at that. When I click on this one, oh,
Takes time.
it is taking time.
Yes.
Oh, did I forget somewhere a weight or something? Maybe we have forgotten a weight somewhere. Should I introduce a weight here as well? Fetch users? I don't know. Let's see that. Now, still it is taking time. Yeah. Over here. Yeah. So I should change to add user, you are saying. Okay. That might be adding our value over there. And interesting stuff. If you go if you go to our server, you remember the Firebase application, go to console. And now if I show you something interesting here, where is that? So one app here, section one app, and where is our database? Let's find out. Section one app. Okay, so I've changed that one. You see that it comes up. It ultimately comes up, but I don't know why it is taking so much time. Maybe somewhere we have used something wrong. You say that how much after time it has just come up. But yes, it is bringing that up. So again, we'll just discuss that one. We'll see that why it is not working. But I think here we'll have to use the handle user anyhow, right? Because we want to have that fetch users as well over there. Okay. Oh, handle add user. Right. Still, it is taking time. Okay, so we'll stop here. And if you want, I can share the code with you, this code. And we'll just see that how.